Karen Starr, who is the woman behind the power? Have you ever wondered what happens when an unstoppable force meets an unyielding spirit? When we talk about Karen Starr, also known as Power Girl, we're venturing into a realm where raw power meets a sharp mind, and what emerges is a heroine who doesn't fit the conventional mold. But who is Karen Starr beyond the mantle of Power Girl? What drives her to fight, and what dilemmas does she face? Today, let's explore the complexity of this fascinating character from the DC animated universe, diving into her story, her battles, and her choices that make us question what it truly means to be a heroine. Karen Starr, in the DCAU, is more than just a simple superhero. From her first appearance, she stands out not only for her unmatched strength, but for the complexity she carries. Created as a counterpart to Supergirl in another universe, Karen shares the same Kryptonian origin, but the similarity ends there. While Supergirl struggles to find her place in the world, Power Girl arrives with the confidence of someone who knows her purpose, even if that purpose is constantly challenged. What few know is that behind all her bravado and strength, there is a woman dealing with issues of identity and belonging, trying to balance her life as a businesswoman with her existence as one of Earth's most powerful defenders. Karen Starr's life is a study in duality. On one hand, she is a successful businesswoman, using her intellect and skill to lead a tech corporation that develops innovations benefiting humanity. On the other, she is Power Girl, an unbeatable warrior committed to protecting Earth from threats that few can even comprehend. This duality is what makes her story so fascinating. How does Karen handle the responsibilities that come with her powers? How does she balance the desire to live a normal life with the need to protect innocence from superhuman dangers? Her enemies and allies reflect this complexity. Karen has a unique relationship with other members of the Justice League, like Superman and Wonder Woman. While she deeply respects her peers, she often questions their decisions and moral code. To Karen, justice is not a black and white concept. She believes that sometimes it's necessary to get your hands dirty to protect what's important. This philosophy often puts her at odds with other heroes, who see the world more simplistically. This tension creates a fascinating dynamic that continues to evolve as the threats become more formidable and the dilemmas more complex. One of the most crucial moments in Karen's journey is her fight against the forces of Apocalypse, led by the fearsome Darkseid. When Darkseid invades Earth, it is Karen who leads the front line, displaying bravery that defies any description. But victory does not come without cost. Karen suffers significant losses, both in terms of allies and in her own faith in what it means to be a heroine. This battle forces her to confront her own mortality and the choices she has made along the way. It is here that we see the real Karen Starr, a woman who, despite her strength, carries a burden of vulnerability and doubt. Beyond her physical battles, Karen also faces internal struggles. The question of her origin, as a survivor from a parallel universe, often leaves her with a feeling of being out of place. She is constantly confronted with the question, who am I really? It is this search for identity that resonates deeply with many who follow her, because despite her powers, Karen Starr is human in her doubts and desires. And it is this humanity that makes her such a captivating figure, someone the audience can relate to. Throughout the episodes, Karen is forced to make decisions that challenge her own morality. In a particularly intense mission, she must choose between saving a city or pursuing a mortal enemy. The choice she makes is not what viewers expect, and this opens up a debate about what is truly right. Is it possible for a hero to make mistakes? Karen Starr shows us that yes, and sometimes, the right path is the hardest to follow. Her decisions reflect her complexity as a character and as a woman who struggles against the expectations of what it means to be a heroine. But perhaps the greatest lesson Karen Starr teaches us is about the nature of sacrifice. In her last appearance, she makes a choice that few would have the courage to make, putting the greater good above her own needs and desires. And here emerges the final question: what is the price of true heroism? Karen shows us that being a hero is not just about winning battles or saving the day, but about being willing to lose everything for what you believe in. So when we think of Karen Starr, or Power Girl, the question that remains is, how far would you go to protect what you love? And in the end, what would you be willing to sacrifice to do what is right? What makes Karen Starr a true heroine is not just her physical strength, but her strength of character, her ability to question, and above all, her willingness to fight no matter the cost. What would you do if you had the power to change the world? And more importantly, how would you use that power?